Drying paper towel to reuse them, dropping a brick in your toilet tank to save some water, or slice opening your toothpaste to get the last drop. These might save you a few cents, but they are not why you're broke. You're broke because no one taught you the real money traps, the one that quietly bleed you dry while you are thinking you are playing it smart. If you're new here, I'm Sushant. I hit financial independence at the age of 41, but not because I made millions overnight. I just avoided these traps people fall into. And now, I help you do the same. I used to get super excited about the tax refund. In my initial years of career, I got $4,200 refund. I took my family on a Disney trip, splurged a little bit of money, yes, the Mickey and money trip, and felt like I was doing so well. But here's what I didn't realize. That refund wasn't a bonus. It was my own money, just delayed. Basically, I gave government a free loan where I was paying 22% interest on my credit card debts. I was struggling all year just to feel rich in that 1 week of April. That made no sense. So I changed one thing. I started using the IRS withholding estimator and adjusted my W-4, and boom, I had an extra $350 per month in my paycheck. Not in April, every month. I used that money to invest, pay off a loan, and finally build some savings. And 2 years later, my investment had grown to $10,000. You can click here to see what I did with that $10,000. And now, I wasn't living on the edge. I didn't feel the need to feel secure. So if your whole financial strategy depends on that one big check from the IRS, the system is playing you. So the goal is not to feel rich for a week. The goal is to actually get rich slowly, quietly, and consistently. And that brings us to our second point. I used to think if I have the money, I can buy it. One time, I spent $1,200 on a treadmill. I had the cash, so I didn't think twice. And 2 months later, it was collecting dust in the garage. That's when I realized affording something isn't about what's in your account today. It's about what that purchase does to your goals tomorrow. And now I ask, will this slow down my savings, delay my debt payoff, or add stress next month? And if the answer is yes, I walk away. I also follow this rule of 5. If I can't comfortably buy 5 of something, I don't buy one. And for anything over $300, I wait 30 days. Most of the time, I don't even want it anymore. That simple shift from impulse to intention saved me from a lot of bad buys. And since we are talking about buying and affording things, we can't skip one of the biggest purchases most people make. Cars. A friend once showed off his new luxury SUV, paying $1,000 per month, custom trim, and a big smile on his face. He called it an investment in happiness, but I called it what it was: expensive. Within just 3 years, the car lost half of its value while he was still making the payments. According to Edmunds.com, most of the cars lose 60% of their value in the first 5 years. Meanwhile, I was driving my Honda, no payment, no cost, no stress. And every extra dollar went into investment, not into impressing strangers at the red light. A car is a tool and not a trophy. And if you treat it like a flex, it will flex your finances into the wrong direction. So it is always better to buy a 3-year used car, pay it cash, and don't let your ego drive your finances. I hope you're enjoying these friendly stories because honestly, I have learned so much from them. Like this one friend of mine. He makes 6 figures, no kids, steady job, but somehow he was always broke. Not because he made any one big mistake, but because of small daily habits like smoking, drinking on the weekends, and some sports betting on the side. On their own, none of these feels like a big deal. But if you put them all together, they're quietly draining his wallet and his future. Let me break it down for you. A pack of cigarettes every day adds up to around $2,500 a year. And weekend drinks, that's another $3,000. And gambling, that can turn into a money pit with no bottom. Americans spends about $249 billion a year on alcohol, over $300 billion on smoking-related costs, and nearly $150 billion on gambling. These habits don't just hurt your health, they sneakily kill your financial ability too. You can't build real wealth if your money is leaking out this way. And if you're talking about silent money drains, we can't ignore the next one. Relying too much on credit cards. It feels harmless at first. Tap or swipe now and sort it out later. But when that later comes, it hits hard, especially if the interest rate is over 20%. A $100 dinner can quietly turn into a $150 regret if you're carrying a balance. And it's not just the big ticket stuff. It's about the everyday coffee runs, the random Amazon buys, the extra subscription which you forgot to cancel. They all pile up. Some people even chase credit card points thinking they are gaming the system, but end up paying way more interest. That's not winning, that's bleeding money in disguise. So what changed the game for me? I started using credit card like it was a cash. So only buy things what I could afford to pay off in full each month. And I of course built a real emergency fund, so I wasn't leaning on this plastic if life threw a curveball at me. Delaying retirement and skipping benefits. When I was 25, someone at work said, you won't care about retirement until it is too late. He was right, but I didn't listen. I kept telling myself, I'll start once I earn more. But that delay, it cost me years of compound growth. If you invest just $200 a month from the age of 25 to 35 and then stop, you could still end up with nearly $1 million by retirement. But if you wait until the age of 35 and invest double that amount until you are 60, you might only hit $630,000. That's the power of time, not just money. And let's not forget the employer match. That's free money on the table. If you are not contributing enough to get it, you're literally turning down part of your salary. And then there are things like HSAs, FSAs, the tuition assistance, wellness credit. Most people don't even check their benefit package, let alone use it. And unfortunately, the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Not just in numbers, but in stress, pressure, and freedom. And finally, the last money habit that is costing you more than anything else: not talking about money. For years, I avoided money conversations, even with close friends. I felt awkward, too personal, like I was exposing something which I should have figured out by now. I once made a costly investment mistake. I invested in a mutual fund with a very high fees. A few months later, over a lunch, a friend casually mentions how he avoids funds like that. That one conversation earlier would have saved me thousands of dollars. That's when I got it. Silent isn't harmless. It is expensive. The less you talk about money, the more mistakes you make alone. But the moment you start asking, listening, and sharing, you get better fast. Because money isn't just about math, it's about the mindset. And if you're not talking about it, you're not learning. And if you're not learning, you're probably losing. So let's not stay stuck. Let's not lose money just because you're too afraid to talk about it. Start the conversation, start learning, and a good place to start is right here. Hit that subscribe button and stick around for more real, honest money talks. We are just getting started.